You know, for any database, storage is everything. It's the bedrock, right? It's where your most critical data lives. And for decades, managing that bedrock was a total high-wire act, a complex, manual, and incredibly risky job. So today, we're going to dive into the story of a technology that basically took database administrators off that tightrope and put them firmly in the control room.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Before 2003, if you were a database administrator, a DBA, your life was a constant battle with storage. I mean, you were manually configuring every single piece of the puzzle. Raw devices, file systems, these intricate RAID arrays. It was a world of deep, specialized knowledge. And the stakes? They were enormous. One wrong command, one tiny misconfiguration could corrupt data or bring an entire company's application to a screeching halt. No pressure, right?
And this slide? Wow, it just perfectly captures that chasm. It's like night and day. On the left, you've got the old way, this constant manual juggling act to balance performance and redundancy. It was brittle, it was stressful, and it was just full of risk. And on the right, that's the vision. Simple, automated, resilient. A world where all the intelligence is in the software, not in some expensive proprietary hardware. That gap you see, that wasn't just some inconvenience. It was a major bottleneck for the entire industry. Then, in 2003, the solution arrived. With the release of Oracle Database 10G, a technology emerged that was built from the ground up to solve this very crisis. It was called Automatic Storage Management, or ASM for short. And let me tell you, it was about to change everything.
So what is ASM, really? Well, think of it as a purpose-built file system and a volume manager all rolled into one, living directly inside the database itself. And that was the masterstroke. For the very first time, the database could talk directly to the disks. It didn't need a separate generic file system acting as a middleman anymore. It put the database in complete control of its own storage destiny. The first release was, honestly, revolutionary. Instead of a DBA manually deciding which file goes on which specific disk, they could now just create a disk group, basically a giant pool of storage. And from there, ASM took over. It automatically striped the data, spreading it across all the disks for a huge performance boost, and it mirrored it, creating copies for protection in case a disk failed. In one move, the two biggest headaches for a DBA, performance tuning and data protection, were automated. Their job was fundamentally transformed from like a manual laborer to a strategic overseer.
But here's the thing, ASM wasn't just a one-and-done feature. The launch in 10G was only the beginning. It was a solid foundation that Oracle would build on for the next 2 decades, with each new release adding another layer of intelligence and capability.
As we look at this timeline, you can see this isn't just a series of updates, it's a true evolution. With 11G, we got ACFS, which was huge. It meant ASM's intelligence could now manage any file, not just database files. Then came 12C, and that was all about the cloud, integrating ASM into the whole multi-tenant world where databases needed to be way more flexible. And by 19C, with FlexASM, the system became so resilient it could support massive, geographically distributed clusters. Each release wasn't just a new feature, it was a new capability, deliberately pushing towards total automation.
In this steady evolution, it wasn't just for show. It directly led to ASM becoming the absolute bedrock for Oracle's most advanced and high-performance systems, especially now in the cloud era where elasticity and resilience are everything. I mean, today, if you look at Oracle's flagship products, things like Real Application Clusters, or RAC, or the powerhouse Exadata database machine, ASM isn't just recommended. No way! It is the mandatory, non-negotiable foundation. The incredible performance and resilience of these systems simply would not be possible without it. It is the backbone. Period.
And that brings us right up to today. With version 23 AI, where this whole journey kind of reaches its peak, we're now talking about truly autonomous storage. This is a system that doesn't just follow rules, it actually thinks. It dynamically balances workloads, it uses machine learning to see a disk failure coming before it happens, and it seamlessly bridges on-premise and cloud infrastructure. The DBA's job has evolved from fixing problems to preventing them entirely.
So when you step back and look at the entire journey, ASM's legacy is crystal clear. It represents a complete paradigm shift in database administration. It really marks the transformation from all those tedious, risky manual tasks to intelligent, autonomous systems that pretty much manage themselves. This quote really says it all, doesn't it? The journey from a DBA physically cabling and configuring RAID arrays to a system that manages itself. That's the entire story of the last 20 years in enterprise IT. ASM didn't just change a process. It fundamentally changed the relationship between people, software, and their most vital resource, their data.
Which, leads us with a fascinating question to ponder. We've gone from manually placing every single file to systems that can literally predict their own failures. So, what comes next? What is the next great frontier for data management?